everybody. Welcome to another episode of Two Strike Noise, your weekly, semi-weekly baseball history podcast. My name is Jeff. I'm one half of the show. Joining me from the Pacific Northwest, from the Greg Briley studio in the Pacific Northwest, it's Mark A. Johnston. Mark, baseball season's technically underway. It
is. I mean, we've watched 2 games so far. And, you know, that it's like a shot in the arm. It gives me a little energy. It'll get me across the finish line to start the new season.
I didn't watch either of them. I have not. I think I saw a couple of highlights, but that is it. I was not getting up at that point.
No, I'm up anyway. So it was like actually having something decent to watch at 3 a.m.
Well, I saw on This Week Tonight or whatever the John Oliver show is that the most bet on sport in the entire world is actually table tennis. And the reason being is because there are games that you can bet on that are just guys in a basement playing each other from everywhere 24 hours a day. So the games are quick and they're easy to bet on. So people could be up at 3 a.m. and be watching multiple table tennis matches and betting on them.
There's got to be a way to get a cut of this.
Well, we could play them. Maybe we just play Wax Packs Heroes 24 hours a day and people can bet on that.
There you go.
Let's get right into BP. We've got to be ready as the season gets ready to start. Unfortunately, we're going to start on a little bit of a downer here. Do you remember Bobby Jenks? The pitcher, mainly for the White Sox. I think he was the closer in 2005 when they won the World Series.
Yeah, I remember him.
So I think this has been out there for a while that he's been dealing with stomach cancer, but this is a recent update from him officially on his Instagram, is that he and his wife lost their house during the wildfires in Los Angeles, but he is now also in the final stages of his battle with stomach cancer, which is terrible. Yeah, it's really sad. Apparently, though, he is going to be doing a signing. This is going to be unfortunately, it's a bad way to put it, but his last signing with all of the funds going towards cancer research. Some of his former teammates are also going to be doing this and donating as well. So that's a really cool thing for him to do. Our best wishes to him and his family. It's a terrible thing to have to go through. And that's just, I'm sorry to start off on such a bummer, but I wanted to make sure and mention that Bobby Jenks, keep him in your thoughts.
Yeah, that's a big deal. And maybe I'll even get an autograph.
This is a downer, not as big a downer, I don't think, but I mention every year around this time that if you donate to the MLBPAA, the Players Association, you get a discount code for 50% off of MLB.TV. You only have to donate $25. That's the least amount you can donate and get that back. So you're essentially paying $75-ish for MLB.TV. My email, which again, I got directly from Jim Tomei because he signs them too. We're buddies. Said on it that this discount is only for returning donators. So I'm not sure if you do it for the first time this year that you can get that discount. Into it, if you're interested in it, just go to MLBPAA.com or Google it and see. But I know that my email said that I was eligible because I donated before, but it kind of sounds like you can't do it for the first time. So I don't know. Check it out. Hopefully everybody can do it.
And T-Mobile, don't forget T-Mobile. Every year they give away to their customers, if you do their T-Mobile Tuesdays, which is now T-Life, you can get the MLB package for free.
Is that like the NWO T for Life? Let's see some other things. This one is spring training related from a while ago, but this is from, the March 11th, 1982. And Jay Daniel posted this on Blue Sky. Jay Daniel's a great follow. I followed him for a long time over on the other app as well. But this is a news story from March 11th, 1983 from Mesa, Arizona, where Chicago Cubs reliever Raleigh Eastwick was hospitalized when he choked on a hot dog in an exhibition game, which I assume means a spring training game.
Right.
And I'm guessing he wasn't pitch. Okay, it says did not suit up for the game. And he was watching from the stands when the hot dog, quote, went down the wrong pipe. That's from a team spokesman, not the doctor. I would hope that.
Oh, okay.
The doctor said he'll have a sore throat for a while and probably miss a couple of days. I mean, that's got to be up there with Ricky Henderson getting frostbite in July kind of injury, or Glenn Allen Hill cutting himself when he was sleepwalking kind of thing. Odd injury.
Very strange.
Let's see some other things that I've got for you. Baseball card related. Paul Skenes, you've heard of him, right? Probably.
Yeah, I heard of that guy.
Yeah, so I know this has been around for a while, but there was the rookie patches that when players make their major league debut, they have a special patch on their uniform signifying that this is they're making their debut. Well, Paul Skenes apparently gave his to Topps. And this is an insert. It's a 1-of-1 insert that was put out there, and an 11-year-old kid, all he wanted for Christmas was a box of Topps. It was $350 is what his parents paid for this box. But he starts ripping these packs and he pulls this 1-of-1. It was a redeem card, but it got him this thing. And everybody wants this. The Pirates have been trying to tempt him. I think Skenes' girlfriend, Liv Dune? I'm not sure how you say her last name. The gymnast from LSU offered things to safe for work things to try and get him to sell, I guess, essentially. But he's holding on to it and putting it up for auction. And this thing is expected to go for at least $600,000.
Yeah. It's a thing Topps pulled off this year, that they decided they were going to do their rookie patch or whatever. And these things, it's interesting because players kind of want their own.
Yeah.
So there was a huge offer for this kid.
Well, what's interesting is $660 is more than Paul Skenes' base salary. I mean, he got a huge signing bonus. So trust me, Paul Skenes is doing fine. But this 11-year-old kid is going to make a good deal of money. I know the thing is, though, this kid lives in L.A. and the Pirates are like, we will give you seats behind home plate for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Among other things.
If you give me Dodger seats, fine. It's not really working out. So that's going to go to auction. Maybe we crowdsource it. I'm sure we can come up with that kind of cash.
Oh, sure. Yeah. We're big time.
Yeah. Now, Mark, I'm sure you've heard about this. This has got to be big news in Seattle and for Mariners fans. The Padres and the Mariners are now going to be officially playing for the Vedder Cup this year.
Yes, I'm excited.
Is there going to be a parade in whatever city hoists the inaugural Vedder Cup? I doubt it.
Oh yeah, we're all going to go nuts. Yeah, we're pretty excited about it as far as I know.
Well, Eddie Vedder, and if you're not familiar, Eddie Vedder, lead singer of Pearl Jam, notorious, not notorious, but what's the word? They're known for being a Seattle grunge band, right? Pacific Northwest.
Of course.
Pearl Jam. But Eddie Vedder is a diehard Cubs fan. So Does Eddie Vedder even care about the Eddie Vedder Cup?
Well, he better.
Is he going to be there to present it to somebody?
I would think so. And visit the control room.
Well, what if he's presenting it in San Diego? You're assuming. I think the Padres have a better club than the Mariners. It's not just a 1-year thing. Maybe in the next 10 years we can win it once. What if it's a World Series? What if the Padres and the Mariners meet in the World Series and the commissioner comes down to hand over the World Series trophy? And since it's just a hunk of metal, what if the teams are like, no, bring us that Vedder Cup? That would actually be cool.
That's definitely going to happen.
That would be cool. Put the commissioner in his place.
That's right.
Some other just basic history stuff going on here. The Dominican Republic Baseball Federation has announced that they are going to retire Juan Marichal's number 27 for the Dominican national team, which is, I don't know, how often do you retire numbers for a national team? That seems like a pretty big honor. Also, Jaden Agassi, the son of Andre Agassi and Steffi Graf. I mean,
yes.
They dominated 80s tennis.
This is a lot of athleticism being passed down.
Yeah, but he's not playing tennis. He's a pitcher.
Yeah.
And he's going to pitch for Germany in the World Baseball Classic qualifiers. Maybe he did already, because I think Germany was part of the qualifiers down in Tucson, but I don't remember seeing him. I'm sure he's got attitude and a Canon camera strapped around his neck too.
Yeah, and a mullet.
Yeah, and does he grunt when he throws? I know too much about 80s tennis. I was a big tennis fan in the 80s.
I was too, man. I liked Agassi. I really enjoyed Boris Becker, and I liked women's tennis more.
Do you know who
Steffi?
Do you know who my guy was?
Who's that?
Yvonne Lendl is my all-time favorite tennis player. Got that sawdust in his pockets that he would, because it was kind of like he was a baseball player. He had this sawdust in his pockets, and I loved that stuff. Now I love John McEnroe. He's a great actor. I love John McEnroe when he's in a show. He's great.
Oh, he cracks me up. He does a parody of himself that's hysterical.
Well, you can hear more about this on our tennis history podcast.
Apparently we need to do one.
Blazing Aces is what it's called. I don't know that. Ace is a tennis term. I know that much. All right, let's get into the main part of the show. Ground Crew would come out and do their stuff. Mark, I've mentioned to you, I want to let our listeners know we're not going to have a show next week, and that's because I'm going to be out of town. I'm going to New Orleans, a non-baseball related trip, which is sad for me.
So if you live in New Orleans and you want to hang out with Jeff,
you want to host me.
That's what you want to do.
Really, I mean, my wife's speaking at a conference, so our hotel is paid for. A lot of our meals are paid for. But you can still host me, and my wife, if you so desire.
Something to do.
I am available for appearances for a small fee.
Yeah, very small fee.
Very small. Let's see, Mark. So I was just interested because I'm going there. I'm going to Louisville. I've told you this, Louisville, later this summer, and I'm very excited about that. I'm going to go take the special tour at the Louisville Slugger Museum. I want to find out if there's a Louisville Colonels Museum. I'm going to that.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know, maybe the Gladiator. I think he's buried in Louisville, so I'll need to go to his grave. But what I decided to do is I wanted to do some research on baseball in New Orleans since I'm going there to see if there's anything that I need to go and check out.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. There's got to be something.
Well, yeah, I mean, I remember in the 80s and 90s, and I'll talk about this in a minute, the New Orleans were a AAA club there, and I've got some information on them. But I will tell you, there's not a lot going on. They got the Baby Cakes now, which used to be the Zephyrs, and then they changed their name. But some things that I found out about New Orleans, because there's some interesting stuff going on here. First of all, there have been a lot of teams to call New Orleans home. For a lot of them are Negro League teams, which is, of course, interesting.
Yeah.
So I've written down some of the names. This is not all of the names, but I wanted to just go through these because there's been a lot of teams that have played there. So we have got
the Gassers, the Swamp Dragons, the Cajuns, the Essos, the Highlanders, the Standards, the Senators, the Solons, the Rebels, the Cougars, the Blue Marlins, the Riverbats, the Red Sticks, Browns, Hubs, Bulls, Oilers, Drillers, Bullfrogs, Monarchs, Skippers, Lakers, Aces, Berries, Orphans, Sluggers, Ricebirds, Lumberjacks, Sugar Boys, Senators, Millers, Cressets, Unions, Ads, Black Aces, Eclipse, Creoles, Black and Blue Rappers, Globetrotters, Hard Hitters, and City Bears.
It's a lot of them.
That's it?
Yeah, the Black and Blue Rappers, by the way, that's from like 1907. That's not like that'd be a good name now, and
Right.
you could have another direction, but Black and Blue Rappers, that sounds like you're tough, and yeah, I like that one. But this one that I didn't mention might be my favorite. Musician Louis Armstrong, the trumpet guy, What a Wonderful World.
Oh, of course, yeah.
He owned a Negro League team in New Orleans called the Secret Nine.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I can't tell you who's on the team because it's a secret, but
right.
I think it's kind of cool because there were like speakeasies and stuff back when I assumed that he owned this team. So the Secret Nine is really a great name. I love it.
That's cool, man.
There's another
like it.
another Negro League team name that's pretty cool. The New Orleans Pinchbacks.
Pinchbacks?
Pinchbacks. And I'm like, what the heck's a pinchback? So Benton Stewart Pinchback was an American publisher, politician, and he was an officer in the Union Army, and he served as the governor of Louisiana in 1872 and 1873, and is commonly referred to, though some people think differently, as the first African-American governor in the United States. And
That's
so
cool.
they named a Negro League team after him, the Pinchbacks. Now, this is not to be confused with H.E. Pennypacker, who was a wealthy industrialist and philanthropist who was looking to open a silver mine in Peru.
That's right. No, not him. I know who you're talking about. I think he changed his mind about that. But.
Well, I think he became a doctor, Dr. Van Nostrum or something like that.
Nostrum, yeah.
So just they are separate there. Most of these teams in New Orleans played in Heinemann Park, which no longer exists. Maybe there'll be a plaque. I can go check it out. This field, though, I don't even know how you call it a field. It was more like a canyon. The original configuration here, down the left field line, 427 feet, which is deeper than any center field in the major leagues.
Wow.
The right field line was a little bit short porch and right, 418. But get this, 405 to dead center. So it was not really a true traditional baseball stadium. But in the left center gap, 460. So
goodness gracious.
Yeah. So they reconfigured it eventually to be a little bit hitter friendly. I think they overcorrected because now it was 297 down the left field line and 292 down the right field line.
Okay. So you went from being such a great pitcher to struggling for your life.
Well, it's like the Orioles. Remember, they removed that part of left field a couple of years ago and made it really hard to hit home runs to left field. And now that they're good, they've moved it back in for this year. That's kind of what they did here. There was a long-standing relationship between the New Orleans Pelicans and the Cleveland, at that point, Indians. And at one point, this is a really interesting story, the Cleveland team essentially stashed Bob Feller in New Orleans so that other major league teams and scouts couldn't get a look at the heater from Van Meter.
Oh, that's funny.
So they kept him in this hotel and they tutored him until he graduated. And then they could sign him officially, but they never let him step on a baseball field until he graduated there so that people couldn't steal him.
They couldn't nab him away from them.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I mean, I think we've talked about, I mean, didn't he play on the weekends, home games on the weekends at one point?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure. That seems to contradict some previous information. But also, 1977, the New Orleans Pelicans were a different flavor of the New Orleans Pelicans. They were a new team because they had moved there because there was an exhibition game the year before in the Louisiana Superdome. And they packed the Superdome because everyone was like excited to see baseball and wanted to see what it would be like in the Superdome. And so they drew a team based on that, and they played in the Superdome, which is weird. It's whenever you see a baseball stadium, I know they did this in San Antonio a while ago, when you try to play baseball in a football dome that is not meant. And the Savannah Bananas did it just last week down in Tampa Bay. They played at the Bucks, and it was maybe 297 down the right field line. They had a Mardi Gras style parade, including horse-drawn carriages, jazz bands. Baseball luminaries such as Daffy Dean, Stan Musial, and Satchel Paige were on these floats, tossing baseball souvenirs to fans while these floats made their way to the Superdome.
Wow. So
the Superdome's baseball alignment had a somewhat normal outfield distance, unlike Heinemann Park. It was 318 down both left and right, and 421 to center field. So a more traditional, sounds more like a actual baseball diamond. The ball carried really well inside the dome, and batters loved it because it was also a lot easier to see things because the lights were a lot better than what you might get in other AAA parks, especially at that point. Also, the batter's eye was very good there. So people liked to hit there. Teams loved to visit there. The members of the New Orleans team loved being at home because often, I guess it would be like going to Las Vegas at that point. The opposition would be out late every night, so they might not be ready to play as much. So they liked that.
Makes sense to me.
People around the league referred to the Superdome's turf as Mardi Gras, which is just clever. That's good. I like it. Season tickets to all 68 home games cost $200 per person. Wow. That's, I mean, again, this is 1977, but
Right.
Single game tickets range from $1.50 to $3.50, and parking was $1 a car. Despite all this, opening night, they only drew 18,000 fans, which must have looked like nobody in this huge Superdome.
No doubt.
So Clint Hurdle, manager, remember he's managed the Rockies, I think is the team I remember him most managing. But when he was playing, he played in New Orleans. He said it was, quote, actually very cool. It was such a new novelty. It was like playing a different kind of baseball, arena baseball. He says one series, Willie Wilson went something like 11 for 13 and never hit a ball out of the infield. Also, they drew celebrities at these games. One game, Happy Days co-star Don Most. Do you know who Don Most, what character he played on Happy Days?
I still got it. Yes, that would be Ralph Malph.
Yeah, I had to
And
look
his
it
parents,
up. Yeah.
Mickey and Minnie Malph.
Was that really their names?
Yes.
That's pretty clever, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, he showed up there and participated for some reason in a pregame home run derby. No
That's awesome.
word on the results of said home run derby, but if Ralph the Mouth shows up to hit tanks, I guess so. All the while, the Superdome continued hosting concerts and circuses and other things, monster truck rallies. I can tell you, when I worked in Atlanta at the then Phillips Arena, when the circus would come into town for a week, you would still smell the circus for like another month after they left the building. So I can imagine what the 77 Superdome smelled like. The Pelicans at one point went on a 29-day road trip to accommodate some of these other people that were occupying their home.
Interesting.
The Mariners did that, right? When the roof was
When the
collapsing one
tiles fell,
time.
out of the Kingdome.
Yeah, and then the Expos did it, and then the Twins had to do it, right? When the Metrodome collapsed, I think. I'm not sure if the Twins had to or not, but I don't remember.
Metrodome did collapse. That's all I remember.
Yeah, but I don't remember. That was in the winter because it collapsed because of snow. So I'm wondering, did they fix it in time, or were they not even playing there at that point? Fun fact here about New Orleans baseball. They were only 2 votes away from having a team be in the majors and come in with the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays would have been in the National League, and they would have come in as an expansion team. 1977 season. So the same year that AAA baseball arrived, MLB was thinking about putting a major league team there. So that would have meant 2 teams in the American League and 2 new teams in the National League. The plan was for the American League to expand into Seattle and New Orleans, and the National League would get Toronto and Washington, D.C.
No kidding.
However, troublemaker owners from the Phillies and the Reds, which I don't know if that would have been Marge Schott if she owned the team at that point, but they changed their votes and denied the unanimous consent that was needed to expand the National League. So when word got to the American League owners that the National League had ex-nayed this expansion that they'd originally agreed to, the American League dumped New Orleans and expanded into Toronto instead. The AL, it says the AL had no choice. They were legally obligated to expand, and one of those teams had to be in Seattle by 1977.
And 77 it was.
Yeah, there you go. After the expansion failed, New Orleans talked to Charlie Finley and agreed to move the A's to New Orleans, but he couldn't get out of his lease in Oakland. He does.
Interesting.
John Fisher is, I guess, smarter than Charlie Finley.
Yeah.
I'm air quoting smarter.
Yeah, John Fisher's not smarter than anybody. Okay, let's just move on.
Also, George Steinbrenner used New Orleans many times as a threat to get improvements to Yankee Stadium and to get it renovated. He's like, I'll just move to New Orleans. Can you imagine the New York freaking Yankees just up and moving to New Orleans?
Sounds like a bluff to me.
Yeah, I know. But they work because owners know that all the other owners will just rubber. Well, of course, the owners didn't rubber stamp here in 1977.
No, yeah, for once.
But today we know that they're all gutless, spineless idiots. And I don't care who we're talking about. All owners are that way.
I have no comment.
End of rant. But what about Steve Cohen? No, he rubber stamped the A's to leave. What about the Orioles? No, same thing. What about the Padres? Same thing. Just don't come at me. Everybody unanimously agreed to let the A's leave. So they're on the bad list. All right. So that is baseball, kind of a history of baseball in New Orleans. Maybe I will come back our next pod and I'll have a bunch of new stuff that I've learned.
Awesome.
I'll probably come back like 10 pounds heavier because I'm going to be eating beignets and gumbo or whatever I'm supposed to eat while I'm there. I don't know.
Make sure you get some etouffee.
Etouffee? Okay.
Yeah.
What is etouffee? I know that. I've heard that before, but I don't know what it is.
It's a food.
It's a food. All right. Well, you can hear more of that on our New Orleans food podcast. Etouffee? Brute? I don't know. We haven't really.
Etouffee.
We're still workshopping the name on that one. But we've been picked up by several podcast networks on that one. All right. Yeah. So, Mark, let's wrap up that segment. Let's get ready to head into the final segment of the show. Everybody's favorite part. It's Wax Packs Heroes, and we've got something special today after, of course, we play the theme. Wax Pack Hero! Gotta pull a Wax Pack Hero! Got stars in his eyes. On a podcast tonight. All right, Mark. So our kind of part-time producer of the show, Marshall, sent us a virtual pack of baseball cards a couple of weeks ago, and it was great. Yes, it was awesome. It was. He got us cards a lot of players we'd never talked about before. Well, that spurred several other listeners to send us some as well. So first of all, that's awesome. We appreciate it. I'm still going to try to put together a template for everybody and I'll post it. So if you do want to send us these virtual things, you don't have to do as much work as some of these listeners have done. We really appreciate it. So we've got a couple of listeners that have sent us packs. So we're going to go through them each week. Today, we are going to be starting off with Jeff Curtis. Has sent us a virtual pack. Jeff's great. Got some from.
Jeff keeps in touch with us and listens all the time, so he's great.
We appreciate it, Jeff. You got a cool first name too. Again, a couple of listeners have sent this, so we will get through them here in the next couple of weeks. So if you sent us some, we appreciate it. We will get through them, but he has sent us some virtual packs, and these are definitely ones that we have never pulled because these are from 1963.
Yeah, we can't afford those 63 unopened packs.
No, we can't. And myself, I was still a good decade away from being alive. Mark, though, was...
I was a good more than a decade from being alive.
Well, okay.
As far as anyone knows.
Yes, as far as the government knows. You were still not born yet.
That's right.
So we're going to go through these. If you are, I think some of our rules that we add on to are probably not going to work for the 1963 set. Well, we're going to read you the rules anyway. What we're going to do is we are going to essentially play war with these baseball cards like you used to do with playing cards. I don't know. Maybe you still do with playing cards. I haven't played that forever. But we're each going to get a card from these packs that he has sent us. And we're going to look up the baseball reference WAR of the player on the card. And whoever has the highest WAR for the 1963 season will win that round. We're going to play we're going to play first to 5. And some ways that you can add or subtract to that WAR on the card. Anything that we call 80s baseball aesthetics, which, I mean, there could be some from the 1963 season, like glasses, eye black, good mustaches, or just mustaches in general. Real stirrups, everyone's going to have real stirrups. There's extra points right there. I don't think we're going to run into anybody with 2-in-1s in these packs, which is good news
I doubt it.
For us. Also, if the player won any awards in the 1963 season, that means Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, MVP, a Gold Glove, or if they made the All-Star team. Were they still playing 2 games at this point? I'm not sure. I don't think they were. But half a point for each of those. If they're in the Hall of Fame, or if there's a Hall of Famer on the card, even if they're not the focus, that is a whole extra point. Mark, I don't think Ricky Henderson or Nolan Ryan are going to show up in these packs. Well, Nolan was getting close, but no.
Nolan's still 5 years away from a breakthrough.
Yeah, and I don't think we're going to get anybody that was on Seinfeld, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, or The Simpsons.
You don't?
No, I don't think so. But some of these players could have appeared on the Brady Bunch, Mr. Ed, Home Run Derby. I mean, there are some different things that could show up in this. I'm pretty sure nobody's going to show up in the Mitchell Report or the Pittsburgh drug trials.
That would be a little difficult. That would be like in a Philip K. Dick novel.
Yeah. So we don't get many Philip Dick references on this pod. No. But we do what? No, we don't. We don't have a sci-fi pod. But yeah, let's get into it. So he sent us 2 packs here. He sent us pack 1 and pack 2, Mark. Which one of these have you looked at them?
I have not. I intentionally did not.
All right, great. Which one do you want, 1 or 2?
I'm going to go with 2.
So you can actually see the cards here as we do this year, which is different from how we usually do it. But your first card is a catcher, and I am familiar with this catcher because I have his card. I collected the 1962 Giants with my mom because she was a Giants fan, and I smartened up and became an A's fan. But this catcher, Ed Bailey.
Ed Bailey. That's a character in Tombstone.
Is it?
Yeah, because it's when Doc Holliday is playing cards, and I think it's Frank Stallone is the character. And he says something to him, and he says, "Why, Ed Bailey? Are we cross?"
Oh, okay. That sounds familiar. And you do a great Doc Holliday Tombstone, Val Kilmer. I've got Hal Chase on the mind still. Hal Kilmer.
Hal Kilmer. He was a cross between the two. The pleasure of meeting Mr. Kilmer a couple of times. And I did the impersonation for him. He liked it.
Oh, good. Good. I hope he's doing well. I know he was not during Maverick. No, he did not look good. Let's see. Ed Bailey, first of all, 14 years in the big leagues, 9 with the Reds, 4 with the Giants, and then Milwaukee, Chicago, and the California Angels in 19. Was it the Angels or they were the Angels at that point. Let's see. In 1963, good news for you, All-Star year for Edward. With the Giants, hit .263, a .366 on base, 21 home runs, 68 RBI, and a 147 OPS plus. Those are great numbers, let alone for a catcher at that point.
Yeah, really.
A 3.4.
I'll take it.
Plus, you've got the All-Star, so that'll be a half a point right there. Nothing on the card is going to help you out. Let's see, Ed. Oh, well, he lost the World Series, as we know, in 1962 to the New York Giants, or to the New York Yankees, because we know exactly how that all went down.
That's right.
Let's see.
Better anyway.
Let's see, was traded with Philippe Alou at one point to the Braves, Milwaukee Braves, for Del Crandall, amongst others. Just some names that I know. Also traded with Harvey Kuhn. Just some names that jump out at me there. Let's see, pop culture references.
No, Crandall managed the Mariners for, I think, 2 years. That just struck me.
Oh, well, there you go. Now, get this. You've got some pop culture rap points here. 1956 appeared as a guest on What's My Line? Along with teammates Gus Bell, Smokey my God, like 18 people showed up in the studio that day. Smokey Burgess, Ray Jablonski. Is that Charlie Brown's favorite player? Or no?
Close. Joe Schlabotnik.
Yeah. Johnny Klipstein, Ted Kluzinski, Roy McMillan, Joe Nuxall, Wally Post, Frank Robinson, and Johnny Temple. My God.
Okay.
That's a big lineup there. So you will get pop culture points for that as well. Let's see, 1957 All-Star Game ballot stuffing controversy. Bailey and 6 of his Reds teammates were voted into the starting lineup as a result of a ballot stuffing campaign they were the Redlegs that year because we were communist scare. You don't want to be the Reds. Yes. Reds fans did that. Commissioner Ford Frick removed Bell and Post from the starting lineup, replacing them with Henry Aaron and Willie Mays. So the fact that those guys got in over Henry Aaron and Willie Mays, I can see why that. The next year, the commissioner transferred the responsibility of all-star voting to the players, managers, and coaches. Okay.
It's not that way anymore, but maybe it should be.
Yeah. It's kind of a popularity contest now.
Yeah, it really is.
How about this for professional podcasting that we totally and 100% planned? Caught Juan Marshall's no-hitter in 1963.
Wow. That just swung right into place.
Yep. Jeff is on with us. He knows how to make this happen. So overall, Mark, that's a 4.4 for catcher Ed Bailey. That's a pretty good score. Unfortunately for you, my first player is a Hall of Famer. Well, I assume he is because I've got outfielder for the Pirates, Bob Clemente.
Bob.
It's what it says on the card here. Bob Clemente. It's obviously Roberto Clemente, but maybe like Tim Raines wanted to be called Rock on his baseball cards for a short amount of time. Maybe Roberto
Right.
wanted to be called Bob, but Roberto Clemente, I mean, geez, 18 years, all with the Pirates, of course. He was a league MVP in 1966, 12-time Gold Glover and 15-time All-Star. Wow. The Great One, a.k.a. Arriba, in 1963 was an All-Star and also won a Gold Glove. That's good for me. He's a Hall of Famer. He hit 320, 356 on base, 17 home runs, 76 RBI, 12 stolen bases, a 136 OPS plus, led the league in double plays grounded into, but still a 5.3 WAR.
Whoa.
I think I'm going to win this one pretty
I
easily.
think so, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to stack up against Roberto Clemente. Two times he won the World Series, 1960 and 1971. We also know how the 1960 World Series ended.
This is true.
Well, this is good podcasting, folks. Just appreciate this. Just soak this in, because this will be one of those times. In 20 years, you'll be like, why isn't podcasting like it used to be?
That's right. Those were the days, you'll say.
That two-strike noise. Well, we'll be in our 26th year at that point. So we've talked, I mean, we did a whole show on Roberto Clemente, and was he taken at one point in San Diego? There's a lot of questions. But let's see, he was also on Home Run Derby. He's been in,
Oh, nice.
yeah, I think he did commercials and stuff. It doesn't really matter. He is going to easily win this round for me. But Roberto Clemente, obviously a show favorite here. All right, I'm up 1-0. Mark, your next card is, I think we'll have a bit to talk about here. First baseman for the St. Louis Cardinals, Bill White.
Okay.
I have several baseballs with his signature on it.
You do?
Yes, because he went on to become the president of I think it was the National League. So,
Okay.
you know how they put their signatures on the baseball. So I've got just like I've got Jim Tomei signing all his emails to me, I've got Bill White's signature.
Gotcha.
Winner of a World Series in 1964 with the Cardinals, 7-time Gold Glove winner, 8-time All-Star. Overall, 13 years in the big leagues. The Cardinals for 8, the Phillies for 3, and the Giants for a couple. In 1963, good news for you, All-Star year, also a Gold Glove for Bill
Nice.
White. Led the league in games played. He played every game, 162, and plate appearances with 726. Hit 304, a 360 on base, 27 home runs, 109 RBI. Nice. 10 stolen bases, a 134 OPS plus, and a 6.0 WAR. That's impressive. That's better than Bob Clemente in 63. So that'll be 6.0 plus the All-Star and the Gold Glove. So that'll be a 7-point right off the bat. Are you looking at the card?
Yes.
Look at the little, so these cards have a big color picture on the front, and then a little circle with a black and white. He's not wearing batting gloves. This is obviously not during a game, but it looks like he's holding a broomstick. There is no, the bat
He's got some mitts on him.
There's no, I'm saying also, yeah, he's got big hands, but what is he holding? Because the bat doesn't get thicker the higher up you go. It's like
it's just like a stickball thing.
Yeah. The back of the card does have a fun fact, though. It says Bill hit a homer in his first National League at bat.
Very nice. Fun fact.
Yeah, fun fact.
Bill's still kicking, 91 years old.
Well, good for him. We don't want to. We had enough bad news at the beginning of the podcast. We don't need.
I'm not jinxing anyone. It's a good thing.
Yeah, we don't need more of that. Oh, we'll get this. Traded with Dick Groat and Bob Uecker from the Cardinals to the Phillies for Pat Corrales, one of Dave Stewart's nemesis, and a couple of other guys.
Mm-hmm.
And he was traded with Ray Jablonski to the Cardinals.
He's back.
Again, I mean, when you can weave a tapestry like this, it's, if I do say so myself, it's something to behold. 89, I mentioned he was elected the president of the National League, who he replaced Bart Giamatti, who replaced Peter Ueberroth.
That's right.
And we all know who Bart Giamatti's son is. Well, I didn't until like 2 or 3 years ago, but now I think we've mentioned it several times. Paul Giamatti, the actor.
Yes, that's right.
Went on to become a broadcaster as well with the Yankees for a while with Phil Rizzuto and Frank Messer. Also did Monday Night Baseball for a while.
Oh, cool.
Released an autobiography in 2011. It doesn't look like you're going to get, though, anything else pop culture related per se. But that's a great card. And that will get you a 7.0 WAR.
Nice.
And you will be going up for me. I've got Norm Seaburn, who I am not familiar with. Siebern.
Norm Seaburn.
Norm
Okay, gotcha.
Seaburn. I think that's what it's like. Sunburn if you're drifting in the ocean, like you're shipwrecked.
Right,
you get
Seaburn.
Seaburn. Yeah. So they have to differentiate between those things. Let's see. Norm Seaburn, 12 years in the big leagues, 4 with the Kansas City Athletics, 3 with the Yankees, 2 with Baltimore and Boston, 1 with the California Angels and the Giants. In 1963, well, he was an all-star. I'll take it. Let's see. He's a first baseman, hit 272, 358 on base, 16 home runs. Wow, a lot of these guys had some good pop. 83 RBI, 1 stolen base, 4 caught stealing. That's not great. 110 OPS plus. He led the league the next year in walks with 106. So, but that doesn't help me.
Very nice.
And all of that equates to a .9 WAR. So I'll get a half a point there for the All-Star appearance. Won 2 World Series, both with the Yankees in 56 and 58. Wow, I love these trades. These names that are coming up in these trades. Traded by the Yankees with Hank Bauer, Don Larson, and Marv Thornberry to the Kansas City Athletics for Joe Desmartry, Kent Hadley, and Roger Maris.
Wow.
I mean,
what a crazy bunch of names.
Yeah. This is Maris before the Yankees. So this is a young Maris. Oh, he had some bad defense in some of those World Series games. Got himself benched.
Ooh.
But no pop culture to mention. Replaced at one point by pinch runner Jose Tartabull. I wonder, is that Danny Tartabull's?
I think I've heard the name before. I think that's
yes,
father's
their son, Danny Tartabull. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know Danny Tartabull was Cuban. I mean, I think he was born probably in the States. But
Yeah.
of Cuban heritage. But congratulations to you. You have beaten Norm Seaburn. I'm sorry. All right. Your next card, we're tied at 1-1. Uh-oh. You got a Frank Howard.
Uh-oh.
That's always fun when we get to talk about Frank Howard. Here he is, the Capitol Punisher, Hondo, the Washington Monument. I freaking love Frank Howard. I love talking about him. Passed away just a couple of years ago, but 6'7", 225. The picture of him standing next to Freddie Potok is just one of my all-time favorites. Potok like 5'6", a good foot shorter. Frank Howard, Rookie of the Year, 4-time All-Star, and won a World Series in 1963 with the Dodgers. Let's see. Oh, that's what we're looking at, the 1963 year. With the Dodgers, he hit 273. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you. 16 years in the big leagues for Frank. 8 with the Senators, 7 with the Dodgers, 2 with the Tigers. In 1963, he hit 273, 330 on base, 28 home runs, 64 RBI, a 150 OPS plus for a 4.1 WAR. Pretty good. Nothing. Boy, look at his bat in that little circle picture here. That bat actually gets bigger, but you can barely tell.
Yeah, that's a big dude right there.
My God. I love talking about Frank Howard. I really
6'7", 250. Oh my goodness. Yeah,
he was still growing because he's listed as 255 here. On Baseball Reference. Yeah. Overall for a career, 382. Led the league twice in home runs. Also led the league in walks one year and RBI. That's a good year. 1970 came in 5th in the All-Star balloting.
Nice. I like how the back says Frank is famous for his long home runs.
Yes, he is. Let's see here. He might have some pop culture.
He very well may.
Oh, he was on Home Run Derby.
Okay, sure.
So you'll get that. Also signed to play in Japan in his first at-bat, hurt his back on a swing and never played again.
Wow. That's a bummer.
Yeah. All right. So you'll get the Home Run Derby pop culture points there. So you'll get a 4.6 for Hondo. You should get nickname bonus.
That's not a bad
for
idea.
Hondo and the Capitol Punisher. And you'll be going up against Al Spangler, outfielder for the Colt 45s, and I believe he became a groundskeeper at a golf course.
I was going to go that direction.
I know you were, so I had to beat you.
Changed his name to Carl.
I wanted to get the credit for that joke, so I had to jump in.
You jumped right at it.
Al Spangler, look at this nickname, Spanky. I love it. Spanky Spangler. That's great.
Beautiful.
Sounds like he's a Ghostbuster, too. Spanky Spangler? I don't know. 13 years in the big leagues. Cubs for 5, the Colt 45s for 4, Milwaukee 3, and the California Angels. All these guys played on the California. Is there a theme pack that they all played on the or was this, let's see, California? Yeah, Angels. Let's see here. 1963, played in 120 games as an outfielder, hit 281, 355 on base, 4 home runs, 27 RBI, a 120 OPS plus, and a 2.1 WAR. Let's see here. No real trades. Yeah, not a whole lot for, he at one point drove in the first run in franchise history with the Colt 45s, driving in none other than Bob Aspermonte, who we have talked about. Had a whole episode about him.
That's cool.
Spent a lot of time in Seattle and Tacoma in the minor leagues. Don't know if you met him there or not.
I was a little young.
Yeah. Overall, that's not going to help me out there. That's going to be another win for you. I mean, Hondo, you're going to win probably every time, but you're up 2-1. Let's go to our next card here for you. Oh, boy. You got a stacked pack here. You have got here for the Chicago White Sox, second baseman Nellie Fox.
Nice. Nellie, who left-handed hitting second baseman, but he threw right-handed, of course.
I wonder if he could have thrown left-handed.
You never know.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're going to get the Hall of Fame bonus. Okay, so both on the card, both pictures on the card, and his baseball reference picture, he's got a huge chaw in his mouth.
Beautiful.
He's like, what, you're going to take a picture of me? Hold on. And he pulls out the skull. Let's see. Overall, Hall of Famer. He's won an MVP, 15-time All-Star, 3 Gold Gloves, nicknamed Little Nell or Mighty Mite. He was 5'10", 160. There's a short king, Nellie Fox.
Very
Overall,
nice.
19 years in the big leagues, 14 with the White Sox, 3 with the Philadelphia Athletics, and then those 2 with the Colt 45s. In 1963, good news for you, All-Star, his final All-Star year, hit 260, 299 on base, 2 home runs, 42 RBI, and a 72 OPS plus for a .9 WAR, but you're going to get that Hall of Fame bonus right there, so that'll be a 1.9 right off the bat.
Bonus.
Oh, the Wikipedia page, he's got a chaw in there. Oh, the Wikipedia page is great, though. He's got old school flip-down sunglasses, and they're flipped
Sweet.
up, and there's athletic tape on them, and it says Fox. And then his hat says Sox, and then he's got the chaw. I mean, that's just a good picture right there. Member of the Go White Sox, 1959.
Okay. Hey, if you say so, man.
I'm just reading what I see here.
I got you.
One of the best second basemen in the major leagues, played next to slick fielding White Sox shortstop Chico Carrasco and Louis Aparicio. Good middle of the infield the White Sox had there for a good amount of time. After his playing days were over, co-owned and managed Nellie Fox Bowl, which I'm assuming is a bowling alley.
I would think so, yeah. Not an implement that you eat your cereal
Well, I
out of.
thought of like a college football bowl,
The Nellie Fox Bowl.
Well, I mean, the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Why not? He's got a statue also at U.S. Cellular or whatever it's called field there in Chicago now. I think it's a mortgage company now. But that'll be a 1.9 for you and Nellie Fox. And you will be going up for me. Oh, well, again, more professional podcasting. Jeff
Yes.
Curtis, you should think about being at least a producer, if not hosting your own podcast. Because I have got Roger Maris with the Yankees. This card might be worth something.
Yeah, man, take it in and have it looked at.
Yeah. Just in case you're, Jeff did send us these actual cards. So if you do want to send us cards like this, feel free to.
Yeah, we can't return them, unfortunately, because of the sheer volume we get.
Well, there's a law, too. We can't. We have to keep them.
Sure, yeah.
All right. So Roger Maris, no Hall of Fame bonus. Deservedly, I don't think he should be in the Hall of Fame. But 2 MVPs, 7-time All-Star, won 3 World Series, also has a Gold Glove and a Player of the Year award. 1963, unfortunately for me, none of those things apply. But he still had a pretty good year. He hit 269, 346, 23 home runs, a little bit short of his career high. 53 RBI, only appeared in 90 games, so sounds like he was probably hurt here. A 146 OPS plus, though. That's pretty good. 3.5 WAR. I forgot to mention he played for 12 years in the big league, 7 with the Yankees, 2 for St. Louis, Kansas City, the Kansas City Athletics, of course, and Cleveland. That 3.5 is a good starting point, though. As I mentioned, 3 World Series trophies. Not a great postseason hitter. 217 career with a 298 on base. 6 home runs, but not a whole lot of hitting going on there. We mentioned that he was traded for Norm Seaburn at one point.
Yeah, we just talked about that.
Did Roger Maris, did he appear on Home Run Derby? I should probably make a spreadsheet with that so I know. It doesn't matter. Unless he was busted for steroids or involved in the Pittsburgh drug trials, I think I've got this one wrapped up. But I want to double check. Media appearances. Starred in a film in 1962 called Safe at Home, playing himself. Also appeared in a film with Yogi Berra called That Touch of Mink that starred Cary Grant and Doris Day.
A movie made about him, too.
Well, I'm not even done with his cameos. In 1980, he, Mickey Mantle, Whitey Ford, Elston Howard, and other Yankees appeared in a film called It's My Turn.
Wow.
And was on To Tell the Truth.
Of course.
I think I'm going to win this round. I think I've got this one wrapped up.
Yeah, I think you got me on this one, dude.
All right. It is 2-2. Let's go. Your next card is a pitcher for the Cincinnati Reds, Jim Maloney. Rhymes with baloney. Sounds like he should be like a cop in New York City in like Prohibition era. Maybe stick a O apostrophe on the front, Jim O. Maloney. I guess Maloney's Irish enough. We'll let it go. Jim Maloney, overall 12 years in the big leagues, Cincinnati for 11, and then 1 year in 71 with the California Angels. 1963, he went 23-7 for Cincinnati with a 2.77 ERA. Jim Malone. Wow. Maloney. I'm sorry. 13 complete games, 6 shutouts, 250 innings, only 183 hits allowed. Led the league in wild pitches, struck out 265. Wow, for an ERA plus of 120. Received MVP votes as well. And that is good for a 5.0 WAR. Fun fact on the back, scouts from every club tried to sign Jim.
I'm sure.
Only one was successful, though. The Reds one, apparently.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm just going out on a limb and saying that. His father went on to open one of the largest used car dealerships in Fresno. I can't give you extra points for that, though.
Bummer.
Here he is, eventually signed by scout Bobby Matlick of the Reds for $100,000. That was a lot back there.
Yeah, no kidding. Jeez.
Injuries did not allow him to be part of the Big Red Machine later on in his career. Pitched 2 games in which he gave up no hits through 9 innings in 1965. Went on to win 20 games that year. I'm assuming, though, that he didn't get a no-hitter because they were broken up, 1 in extra innings. His second no-hitter and official under current rules was 2 months later and required 10 innings, but he won that one 1-0. In that game, in that no-hitter, the official no-hitter, he walked 10 and hit 1. The most base runners allowed in a no-hitter since 1901. Wow. He threw 187 pitches.
Oh, my goodness. He earned that one.
Yeah. Nolan Ryan's was like, hold my beer. His official second no-hitter, so 3 of these, 2 of which are official, was in 1969 at Crosley Field in Cincinnati, caught by a 21-year-old Johnny Bench. That time he struck out 13 and only walked 5. The next night, John Wilson of the Astros no-hit the Reds. Wow.
Goodness gracious.
That is very interesting. The double no-hitters in consecutive games was the second such occurrence in Major League history. Gaylord Perry and Ray Washburn did it several months earlier in 68. Wow.
Jeez.
That is a great card. Thank you for this card. I did not know about this. For you, maybe not the greatest card for you. Well, no, a 5.0. Okay, no, that's a great card for you. 5.0.
Yeah, 5 works.
Yeah, you'll take that because you're going to be going up against me. Oh, wow. You're going to be going up against Sandy Koufax.
That's
so
true.
We'll see. Well, I mean, especially Sandy's on my last video about the greatest last seasons, Sandy Koufax, for me, ranked number 1 as the greatest last season. And his last 5 years were just 6 years were just off the charts incredible. The left arm of God, Hall of Famer, MVP, 3 Cy Youngs, 3 pitching triple crowns, 4 World Series, 5 ERA titles, 7-time All-Star, and twice was named World Series MVP.
You're saying he was okay?
Well, 1963 was his career high WAR, 10.7.
Say that again?
10 for 1 year. He went 25-5, led the league in wins, led the league in ERA with a 1, which he lowered the next year with a 1.74. Led the league in shutouts with 11, 20 complete games, pitched 311 innings, struck out 306, only gave up 214 hits.
Wow.
65 earned runs. He only gave up 3 unearned runs that year. Wow. He was the Cy Young winner and the MVP of the league this year. And he's a Hall of Famer. I mean, this might be the highest score for a single season for us. So he's 10.7. He's got the Hall of Fame points at 1. He won the Cy Young and the MVP that year. So that totals another whole point. So that's 12.7. He's definitely got the pop culture cred. So that will be let's see if I can do math here.
Not math.
That'll be a 13 point. And there's so much to talk about with Sandy Koufax is just incredible. The more I learned about him, as I was researching for that video, it took him so long to get ready to pitch at that point. He was afraid that he was going to lose function of his arm. So he retired in literally his prime of his career.
Yes, he really did.
He was 30 years old. His final year, he had a 10.3 WAR and went 27-9 with a 1.73 ERA, the lowest of his career.
Yeah.
Led the league in complete games, in shutouts, ERA, WAR, wins, innings pitched with 323, in strikeouts with 317, a 1.9 ERA plus, a 2.07 FIP, and a WAR, and a WHIP as a starter of 0.5, which actually is up from the year prior when his WHIP was 0.855.
That's ridiculous.
I mean,
8.55 WHIP
for a starter.
Ridiculous.
His career is just incredible, and wow, this is obviously an easy win for Sandy Koufax, regardless of who he goes up against. But
yeah,
Sandy Koufax just boggles my mind. All right, so that's a win for me. I'm up 3-2. Your next card, Mark, is I think he passed away recently in the last couple of years. I know him mainly as the manager of the Hum Baby Giants, but I know that he also was a pitcher. I know he was involved in a famous brawl as well. Here with the Mets, Roger Craig. Now, being from the Bay Area, I'm familiar with him, but I'm also familiar with another Roger Craig, a high-stepping football Hall of Fame running back who happens to be...
I'm familiar with him, too.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not a football fan, but he's my favorite running back of all time. Roger Craig.
He was amazing. Does not get nearly the credit he deserved for being just an all-around great running back.
Good. I enjoy him. Roger Craig was nicknamed Rock Hawk. I don't know why. He's not from Kansas or anything, but anyway, 12 years in the big leagues, 7 with Brooklyn, 2 with the Mets, Cincinnati, St. Louis, and Philadelphia. In 1963, he led the league in losses for the second consecutive year. He went 5-22. But his ERA was only 3.78. He pitched 236 innings, 249 hits allowed, 108 strikeouts, a 92 ERA plus, and still managed a WAR of 2.3. Went to North Carolina State on a basketball scholarship. Missed the 52 and 53 seasons while serving in the military during the Korean War. Did not have great success as a pitcher in the postseason. I seem to remember when Juan Marshall hit the catcher with a bat and charged the mound, I seem to think Roger Craig was on the mound for the Dodgers in that game.
Was he?
I'm not sure. I'm not seeing anything here that I can easily pick out, but I'm pretty sure that he was one of the catalysts of a very scary brawl. Let's see, he died in 2023 at the age of 93. Yeah, so I don't see anything there pop culture related. So that'll be a 2.3 for you. And you will be going up against Jim Gentile of the Baltimore Orioles.
Gentile. Sounds familiar, but I can't tell you anything about him.
Let's see. Gentile. Overall, 9 years in the big leagues. Baltimore for 4, the KC Athletics for 2, Houston, Brooklyn also for 2, and then Cleveland for a single year. 1963 with Baltimore. Hit 248, 353 on base, 24 home runs, 72 RBI, a 122 OPS plus, and that is good for a WAR of 2.5. So, assuming he stayed out of the steroid game, and wasn't buying cocaine from the Pittsburgh Pirates mascot, we should be good. But again, I'm just gonna blow your mind. He was traded by the Baltimore Orioles to the Kansas City Athletics for Norm Seaburn.
No, there you go.
Jeff, you're doing a great job with these cards. I don't know if these are all planned, but these are great cards that are all linked together, and I appreciate that. Started at first base in the final game at Ebbets Field, and then was replaced by Pee Wee Reese.
Interesting, he played for the Osaka Kintetsu Buffaloes as well. Now the Oryx Buffaloes.
Who used to be the Oryx Blue Wave until
Yes.
they merged with the Kintetsu squad. Because they had the coolest logo, the Oryx Blue Wave.
Oh, yeah,
They
did.
also had a guy named Ichiro on some of those teams.
I think I heard of that guy.
Gentile hit 5 grand slams, including 2 straight in one game. I guess that would mean 2 at-bats, consecutive at-bats. He hit a grand
I
slam.
would think not just back to back.
He's just not the golden batter like in Banana Ball, where you just send
That's
him up
right.
there again. Is he still kicking, it looks like? Age 90, now lives in Edmond, Oklahoma. 141 RBI in 1961, second only to Roger Maris's 142. However, analysts by RetroSheet determined that Maris was incorrectly credited with an RBI on July 5th.
Yeah. Okay.
Therefore, they should both have 141 RBI. He had a contract for that year that gave him a $5,000 bonus if he led the league in RBI. The Orioles, 50 years later, made good on it and gave him a $5,000 check. They should have given him some juice on that, don't you think?
Yeah,
Come
absolutely.
on. I mean, it's a good story, but the guy's, no, come on, man. You gotta do better than that.
Give him a little bit of an upgrade there.
So I will, just by the skin of my teeth, win that round. All right, your next card, I am currently up 4-2. Your next card, this will help you. Here he is, outfielder for the Cubs, Billy Williams.
Oh, nice.
All right, so you're going to get Hall of Fame cash right out of the gate. He was also Rookie of the Year, won a batting title, and a 6-time All-Star. 18 years in the big leagues, 16 of it with the Cubs, and then the final 2 with the Oakland A's in 75 and 76 as a 37 and 38-year-old. 1963, let's see, hit 286, 385 on base, 25 home runs, 95 RBI for a 138 OPS plus and a 6.4 WAR. Woo.
Very nice. Very nice.
Plus you get that Hall of Fame bonus, so that'll be a 7.4 right out of the bat. 426 career home runs.
Bad.
It's a pretty good. Only time he made the postseason was that second to last year with Oakland in 1975.
Wow.
I mean, he was on the Cubs, so.
Right.
Williams is credited a grade school teacher with encouraging him to always try to improve, citing the old saying, good, better, best, never let it rest until the good is better and the best is best. I mean, we should probably just do an episode on Billy Williams. There's a lot to talk about here. I don't see any pop culture, which I tend to believe he would have some, but I don't see any here.
Yeah.
Williams only had one 3-run home run. Or no, I'm sorry. Had a 3 home run game in an 8-win over the Mets. Was off Nolan Ryan. Of
course.
Well, I mean, you should probably sit in fastball.
I'm sure.
Oh, co-authored a 70s children's book called Iron Man. Yeah, so I guess he invented Tony Stark? No, he invented Cal Ripken Jr. No, this has got to be something else. He was nicknamed Iron Man as well. But he played 1,117 consecutive games from 1963 to 1970.
Wow. Not bad.
Yeah. All right, so that'll be a 7.4 for you. That's going to be hard for me to beat. Let's see. I have got outfielder for the Washington Senators, Chuck Hinton. I know this name. I don't know why. I certainly don't know anything about him. Chuck Hinton, 11 years in the big league, 6 with Cleveland, 4 with the Senators, 1 for the California Angels. 1963 with the Senators, hit 269, 340 on base, 15 home runs, 55 RBI, 25 stolen bases, a 114 OPS plus, and that is good for a 3.2 WAR, which is a great year. But going up against Billy Williams, that's not gonna,
a little rougher.
not gonna cut it. Oh, boy. Hit in the head with a pitch in 1963 and was carried off the field unconscious. Returned to the lineup 8 days later, but was limited due to symptoms of a concussion. Went on to be the head coach at Howard University for their baseball team. And he founded the MLBPAA, which, again, tying that to the top of the show, 3 times led the Senators in batting average, 4 times in triples and stolen bases, and was the last Senator to hit 300. All right.
And that one's not going to get broken. No more Senators.
I know those Senate congressional games that they play once a year.
There are those. Yeah, that's a good point.
All right.
I stand corrected.
I'm up 4-3. Let's see. Your next guy is outfielder for the Phillies, Don Demeter. I hardly know her. Let's see. World Series in 1959 for you. 11 years in the big leagues. Brooklyn for 5. Phillies, Tigers, Red Sox, and Cleveland in there as well. 1963, he received MVP votes for the second time in his career. He hit .258, .306 on base. Wow, that's not great. 22 home runs, 83 RBI, and a 112 OPS for a 2.1 WAR. Nothing on this card is going to help you out. He's got some healthy eyebrows.
We don't give points for eyebrows.
Well, I mean, as a fellow healthy eyebrower, I can appreciate that. Led the Phils in batting and homers in 1962. Oh, he was traded by the Phillies to the Tigers for Jim Bunning, speaking of Senators.
Senators.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Wow. Had a 266-game consecutive errorless streak. That would stand for 30 years until Darren Lewis broke it in 1994.
That's pretty awesome.
I feel like we need to talk about him more, but, just perusing, he's got a huge Wikipedia page. I mean, this guy
he does.
Just did so much during his career. Also, things he didn't do, though, was drink, smoke, or curse.
Interesting.
He also rejected endorsement deals for alcohol and tobacco products.
Wow.
He's a member of the God Squad, apparently.
Apparently so.
Tried to be a member of the Oklahoma House of Representatives. He wanted to be a senator. But he passed away, remained... Oh, look at this. Boy, this is scary how this is working this week. He started Grace Community Baptist Church in Oklahoma City and served as a pastor there for 16 years before his grandson succeeded him. He remained on the staff as pastor emeritus until his death. Former pitcher Tom Sturdivant of the Yankees was also a member.
Oh, gee, wow.
Jeez, that is just crazy how this is working. These packs. All right, so that will be a 2.1 for you, and you will be going up against my card, which is Hall of Fame tight end, mainly for the San Diego Chargers. Here he is with the Philadelphia Phillies, Tony Gonzalez. See, I'm a big football mark. I know all these. Roger Craig, Tony Gonzalez.
That's right.
Know them all. 12 years in the big leagues, 9 for the Phillies, 2 for Atlanta, 2 for the California Angels, and then the Padres and the Reds. 1963, hit 306, a 372 on base, 4 home runs, 66 RBI, 13 stolen bases, a 134 OPS plus. He got MVP votes this year and a 4.5 WAR.
Very nice.
Wow. That's not even the highest of his career.
Wow.
Had some good years here. Was traded at one point for Walt Reniak, the noted swing king of the batting coach for the White Sox for a good amount of time. Also played part of a season for the Hiroshima Carp in the MPB. Wow, he did not like to face left-handers. No. And did not go to the plate very often when they were on the mound. Hit 330. So these are interesting numbers. He had 5,800 plate appearances. 80% of them were against right-handers. For his career, and he was a left-handed batter too, so I can see why he might not want to face lefties. But for his career against righties, hit 303 with a 366 on base and a 442 slugging percentage. Against lefties, those were 219, 288, and 299. Whew. That's quite a drop off there.
Not as good.
No. First major league player to wear a batting helmet with a pre-molded ear flap. Special helmet constructed specially for him. Top 10 in being hit by pitches.
Very nice. All
right. Well, very nice for me even more, because that is going to be a win, and that is going to give me the win for the day and bump me up. I am now up 18-14.
I got to get my guys focused, man.
Yeah, you do. Let's take a quick peek at the other cards because there's 2 more cards for both of us. You had shortstop for the Red Sox, Eddie Broussard, and catcher, Hall of Fame manager, but catcher for the Braves here, Milwaukee Braves, Joe Torre.
Oh, yeah.
Heard of that guy. My 2 extra players, Tommy Davis, nice, Dodgers, I like that. That would have been fun. And Camilo Pascual, pitcher for the Twins. Maybe we'll go over them next week. When we've got more time, we'll just look at them because obviously I think they were put in these packs for a reason. But wow, that was great. Jeff, thank you very much. Those were great cards. Obviously, we'd never talked about any of those guys. And they were all seamlessly intertwined, it appeared, with things, with other cards, as well as just things we had talked about in this episode or in previous episodes. So that was great.
That was awesome. Thanks,
all right,
Jeff.
Yes, Jeff, thank you very much. Like I said, I'm trying to I'll get around to making a template so everybody can do this and do it easily. Or send us those 1963 cards like we said. But that will wrap up this Wax Packs Heroes. That'll also do it for this show. If you want more of us, you can just check the show notes, Google us, Two Strike Noise. We are on all of the socials. I also do stream generally 3 times a week on Twitch, which is also in the socials there. Next week, though, I will not. Like I said, I'll be out of town. Maybe a Friday stream if I can fit one in. But we also have an email address that these very cards came into, Mark.
Yeah, you can send us the virtual cards at Two Strike Noise. Spell it out, TWO, strike noise at gmail.com.
All right, that will do it. I just do also want to plug, I'm going to have a new video on YouTube here shortly. I'm not sure when I'm hoping to have it done and debut next week at some point. So I will be sure to put that out on our socials about that. But keep an eye, and if you aren't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, please, that would help us out. And you also will be notified when these videos come out. But that'll do it for this week. We will see you all again on the next episode of Two Strike Noise.
Thank you all. God bless you. Have a great day.